librarian is a pack rat. She keeps everything. She keeps everything. But she says, well, geez, I remember it, but it's going to take me a while to find it. And so she called me a few days later and says, I got it. So I went over to the library and she gave me a photocopy of an envelope from her, sent a letter to the library, this woman Irene Rucker. And she sent copies of the front and back of that sketch to the library. She had earlier communicated with the staff of the library, telling them she's trying to find the genealogy of the Tate family. Well, our history here and the old-timers here didn't know of any Tate family because Samuel Tate left in 1857 and Clay County and Hayesville weren't established until 1861. And so the Tate name was lost in our history. So then I went on a search for Irene Rucker to see if I could find the original of that document. I found her in a 2010 Citizens Voice newspaper article in Irvine, Tennessee that featured, Irvine, Kentucky. She said, no, not Tennessee. And I'm going to let Irene and Penny tell the rest of the story in a few minutes. We discovered many other things during our research that I think were quite exciting. The traditions of Fort Henry Baptist Church. You've got some real special heritage there, and you do a great job of carrying on the traditions from the past. We learned about the evolution of colored public schooling in North Carolina. And I encourage you to read the exhibit part that talks about the North Carolina policy. It's striking. But then we learned some good news. We learned the names of the African American children that integrated the Hayesville school system. And they did it early. In the fall, or let me say first, in 1964, only 1% of North Carolina's African American children attended school with whites. 4 of them were in Hayesville.
Yeah.
And I don't see anyone here. It was J.T. Nicely Jr., Jerry Lloyd, Billy Lloyd, a girl named Mary Pfeiffer. That was 10th, 9th, 8th, and 7th grade. And the next year, the elementary school was integrated. So these and other discoveries gave us enough information to build the exhibit that we now have in the museum. Now I'm pleased to conclude by introducing some individuals that played key roles there. And when I mention your name, I'd appreciate if you stand to be recognized, because what I'd like to do is encourage the attendees here to engage them in conversation and learn a little bit more about, or at least get a little more, drill their brains for the knowledge that they have. First, Gwinnell Hunter, she's that property owner of the Slave Cemetery. Getting around. She's going to be up there at the cemetery for at least 2 hours this afternoon welcoming visitors. Blair Torman, please sit down. Blair is from Blair is from the staff of Western Carolina University. He's a forensic scientist, and I think I mentioned earlier about the ground penetrating radar and so on. So he's doing the work for us up there, and we're really grateful for you and the other people in Carolina for your support. Tommy Jarrett. Tommy drafted the words that are on the monument up at Freedom Cemetery. And I saw those words first in an email, because when Gwinnell encouraged or asked the council for help in recognizing the cemetery and the people interred therein, Sarah had passed that information on to Tommy, and that's what he thought. And when she talked to council, we had never done anything like this before, so it was questionable, can we spend money on a cemetery marker? Anyhow, we decided we can. But I read Tommy's email to Sarah on our way over to the site for the first time. And he said two phenomenal things. Number one, he knew what that cemetery looked like in 1950, because he was a kid and he played in that area. And he talked to his parents and grandparents about it. So he was able to describe there were so many cemeteries, some adults, some children, large stones at the head, small stones at the feet, slightly sunken, along a path that he used to travel all the time. But then he suggested to Sarah